Peter. And apologies, just like to call now on Ivan Sproule just to join us. And sorry, apologies.
Get that going for you.
Yeah, there you go, Ivan, you're up. Okay, thank you.
Which way is it? You should press that way, yeah. That should get you going. One more. Here, okay.
Thanks very much, Conor. So I'm Business Programs Manager. I'm based in the Sligo office. And I travelled up with Peter yesterday and we agreed that I would give him a brown envelope going back down this evening. So thanks very much, Peter. Not really, but thanks to Ronan and the team as well for giving us the opportunity to present here today. Basically going to give you a quick update on some of the new initiatives that are happening in terms of standards and also kind of the spaces that SEI are moving into. That's really what it's about. I suppose SEI really stimulate action, and we've heard a number of very good presentations here today from companies and businesses that have actually delivered on the ground. So despite all the efforts and support that SEI give, I think it's the companies on the ground that deliver these wide-ranging, very innovative projects and things like that that are delivering the results, and hence these companies are to be congratulated. This here is a timeline on energy standards development, and in fact a lot of the companies that are presenting here, and indeed others that are part of our industry network, were involved in the development a lot of the standards. IS 393, for example, we piloted that with a number of companies. Then we assisted companies in the transition to EN 16001, and then when ISO 50001 came along, SEI and in SEI were part of the development team that actually assisted in drawing up that standard and writing it up. And then we had some special working groups and special initiatives ran through the Large Industry Energy Network, and that led to the development of IS 399, which is the Design Management Standard. And the next space that SEI are pushing this standard towards is what we believe will be quite exciting. It's called Certified Energy Efficient Design. Just an idea of some of the companies or the team that are involved in the standards development for IS 399. We had industry partners, we had engineering and energy service companies, and we had professional bodies, and then of course we had SEI involved to actually produce the final standard. I mentioned special working groups. We trialed lots of ideas with a number of companies, and this is a sample of those companies where we looked at different ways of doing things, putting in design experts that would assist with the development of the facility or the utility, and we ended up producing a book called The Energy Efficient Design Methodology. And it was this methodology then where we worked closely with the National Standards Authority of Ireland to produce what is now known as the IS 399 Design Management Standard. And I think the results stand out for themselves there, and some of the projects, some of the companies that we worked with, delivering between 20 and 30% energy savings, and the Diageo brewery delivering avoided energy costs of about €2.5 million per annum against what it would have been had they not had this intervention on the design side of it. Those savings are not only on energy but also on water, and it delivered substantial savings on CO2 emissions as well. Not going to dwell too long on this schematic here. Basically, obviously the biggest benefit or impact that you can have on a project to deliver cost savings or life cycle cost savings is at the design stage, and that's kind of the message that we want to get across to businesses that are looking at new projects, new ideas and things like that. So the IS 399 standard, it's been developed to align with anybody that is certified to ISO 50001. So any company that's looking at designing or developing a new asset or upgrading a facility or whatever, they should be able to take this standard on board quite quickly and incorporate it into their normal business role. Typically, you would have a top management, the project team would have included perhaps top management, a project team on site itself, and then either specialist suppliers or a design team. But what the IS 399 does is it brings in what we call an energy efficient design expert, an EED expert, and an EED owner. And what this person will do is he will challenge the decisions, the calculations that have been put in place by the specialist suppliers or by the design team to ensure optimum performance, optimum output, optimum energy savings are generated once the utility upgrade or facility upgrade has been complete. I'm not going to go into every detail on this particular slide here, but there are many benefits and value-added propositions for all of the stakeholders involved. For example, it's an enabling tool for policymakers. It can obviously build capacity in the market, improve the skill sets of the specifiers and designers, and the application can be wide in terms of it can be applied to new facilities or existing facilities. In terms of investors or financiers, it provides an assurance to them that the actual benefits that this project is likely to achieve will be delivered, and therefore it mitigates the risk for them investing in the actual project itself. In terms of the services or the suppliers, obviously it's a more competitive offering, better quality project for them, and at handover during commissioning, it minimises the risk for them in terms of how this project will work. Will it deliver the benefits that it's set out to achieve? So it's about building capacity really in this end of the supply chain as well. And then obviously for the owners or operators, it'll be a best-in-class technology, deliver an optimum performance. It's energy management ready and will fit into obviously the existing energy management culture within the organisation. So what is XEED about? So that's IS 399. This is the NSEI standard. And SEI now are developing what essentially is a badging scheme for any project that has been designed and about to be implemented or commissioned in accordance with IS 399. So it'll independently certify the asset. It will either be new or re-engineered, new or a retrofit project. We would have a preference for retrofit projects because they delivered savings off the bottom line for organisations, whereas a new project, you're looking at avoided energy use in a new facility or something like that. So it has to be certified for optimum energy performance, and the management process that delivers the project has also to be certified as well. So what you end up with is an optimum design and operational controls system in place that minimises the life cycle, carbon and energy impact. So there are other schemes out there such as LEED and BREEAM, but we believe that this offers a new opportunity to put Ireland to the forefront in terms of certifying various projects and things like that. For the company themselves, what's the value proposition? Well, clearly, obviously, demonstration of CSR, good corporate social responsibility and energy saving goals, very important. It delivers a statement of strong action by the organisation to minimise their contribution and impact of climate change. A lot of companies like to talk about how well they're doing, as we've heard earlier today. Obviously, it addresses life cycle costing, energy and carbon reduction at all various parts of the design stage, drives innovation. It's about future-proofing the business. Energy prices are very low. Will they stay low? Unlikely. And obviously, as I said earlier on, it demonstrates Ireland as a global leader, we would hope, and a centre of excellence, probably to encourage more foreign direct investment, etc. So, what is the distinctions in this energy efficient design certification process? I'm not going to go into these in any great detail. Basically, at the design stage, it certifies the asset as designed and constructed. once it's actually in place, it certifies that the upgrade will deliver the savings that the design team had said it would deliver at the outset, and obviously that it's managed in a manner that continuously delivers improvements in energy performance, that it just doesn't wander off or drift off. So that's what the certificate that a company will get from us as part of this energy efficient design certification. It can be applied across a whole raft of different types of applications, buildings, facilities. We would be encouraging the likes of ID Ireland to incorporate this in for any new FDI projects. Same Enterprise Ireland, any new kind of indigenous industries, new industries, new developments and things like that. And obviously it can be incorporated into utility systems or perhaps even into community systems and like that, etc. So where to next with EED? We're going to launch it at the Energy Show. There will be funding available for projects, and I suppose what we're looking for is projects that might be at a kind of an investor-ready type stage. But obviously it will have to have gone through the EED process, design, certification, etc., etc. And there will be funding available as well on the capital side of it. So there's an opportunity there for any organisation looking at investing in a facility, production process, new utility or something like that. And we'll be looking to support early movers. There's also an opportunity for energy suppliers. Everybody is familiar with the EEOS, Energy Efficiency Obligation Scheme, where suppliers are putting some support for material additionality to projects and things like that. So there's an opportunity for them to come in on this as well. So we would welcome that kind of an approach on it. So that's all I want to say on Exceed. The next topic, just to touch briefly on it, is the energy management maturity model. A lot of companies now have been involved in kind of the ISO 50001 space. And what we want to see is to try and drive more deeper integration, more deeper innovation with these organisations. And we have piloted this project with a number of organisations in recent times, and now we're hoping to roll it out to the wider industry community. We're actually going to run a pilot with about 10 companies at the moment. We will include public sector organisations, and we will include companies that don't have ISO 50001, because we want to build up a kind of a map as to see how different businesses are thinking, to see what's driving performance improvement, what's driving the innovation. And we would expect that arising out of this pilot project, that deeper innovation will follow within the organisations, and that will stimulate further action. So for SEI, it's looking at developing a strategy for the long-term performance and impact of the large industry energy network. And it's about elevating up from kind of the utilities, environmental health and safety, facilities management side, up to a higher level within those organisations. And obviously for energy users, it's about trying to stimulate innovation beyond best practice. How can we develop our systems further? Having heard some of the talks previously, though, it'll be interesting to see what improvements we can initiate with this. So it's about developing wider, deeper business improvement methodology. It's largely centred on the Plan, Do, Check, Act. These four particular domains that everybody is familiar with. But at the end of the project and the model, there are 315 different statements or questions that have to be answered. And when these statements are answered, we come up with a spider diagram like this here. And, oops, done the same thing. Here's my pointer.
Yeah, should be the big round there in the middle, the big laser.
Yeah, just briefly. Typically, the grey border area here is where the company should aspire to be. Certainly not within the yellow area here. So when they answer all these particular 315 or so questions, you come up with this blue line here, which shows where the company is at. So this company, in terms of management review, they're obviously quite good. In terms of their opportunity register, quite good. Where they're weak here is where the gaps occur here on awareness training, communications, and some degree their continuous improvement program. And obviously here, where they move inside this particular area here, in terms of policy, they would be quite weak on policy. We have trialled it with those companies and indeed others. I haven't listed them all here. And we have seen quite a substantial improvement in terms of what these businesses have achieved. So we're going to pilot that again for this year. We will have work with what do we call them, business analysts and things like that in on the team to analyse the results of the model for each of the various companies. They will work as part of the team to help basically assist with the project implementation and development and things like that. So as I said, we're running a pilot group at the moment. We're currently developing the actual project. We'll be testing the value of it, and we'll be hoping to push out the boundaries even further with those groups of companies that we intend to pilot it with, and obviously push it out to the wider large industry network. And indeed, we will be working with public sector bodies as well. We hope to include 1 or 2 public sector bodies in the pilot project. Just a quick update on the Energy Efficiency Directive. Most of you are quite familiar with it. It's been mentioned a couple of times here. Not going to go into it in any great detail, just to say that under the derogation element of it, any company that has pursued the ISO 50001 route to achieving compliance, and any company that has gone down that road in recent times, June is the deadline for those to actually achieve that certification. It's unlikely that any compliance checks in terms of checking with businesses to see have they achieved, have they complied with the directive will happen before that particular date. We did carry out some kind of we did carry out a survey with the 100 or so registered energy auditors, and it showed that there was about 150 companies have complied to date. We estimate the total requirement is about 600 companies that will need to comply with the directive. And we have just recently carried out another survey. I think it was for an end of January deadline to see what was the improvement at that stage, but we haven't actually got the results of that yet to hand. So for 2016, I have to say and warn you, the checks will take place. So anybody that hasn't done it, definitely the checks will take place. But I would look at it as an opportunity for your businesses. It's going to produce a register of opportunities or a suite of projects, maybe even cost it out in some cases. You know, energy prices won't be low forever, will be my message to you. So don't just sit on it, make use out of it and build on it from there. Just a little bit of an update on the Large Industry Energy Network. Last year it was the 20th anniversary. We've seen a strong interest in energy agreements. This is the part of the programme that people move into when they're looking to get elevate up to ISO 50001 certification. We suspect it's been driven by the requirements under the Energy Efficiency Directive. And something else that's coming out on the feedback that we're getting in terms of the ISO 50001 and gap analysis is that some of these elements of the actual certification, particularly the gap analysis, doesn't meet the requirements of Annex 6 under the Energy Efficiency Directive. So it needs to be, you might want to have a think about that. I know some companies are revisiting theirs and they're actually finding it quite an interesting exercise in terms of stimulating new interest in their ISO 50001 project. We've seen numerous instances now where we're getting queries from abroad on how the whole network has developed, how it has devolved and things like that, and it continues to grow. It started off at 40. I think in the last, we had 166 in 2014. It's actually gone up to 186 now. The red line here is kind of the performance improvement level. It's not an energy saving, it's a performance improvement of the overall network as a whole. And obviously 37% peak of the Celtic Tiger. We've seen it dropping off. A lot of this, the drop-off has happened because a lot of the larger industries haven't actually got back up to full capacity yet. So their base loads are still the same. They're not producing as much, so therefore their performance is down slightly. And because of the impact of those in terms of the overall network, it creates quite an impact in terms of the overall performance of the network as a whole. But hopefully in time that will improve. Just lean versus agreements. The charts themselves don't really mean very much, but the important thing is that companies in the agreements programme have achieved a 14% reduction in the period 2005 to 2014, as against 8% for companies who are in the lean-only group. Seen as it's a pharmachem sector conference here today, pharmachem outperforming every other sector within the group. So there was a 2% reduction in TPER, 14% increase in output, and overall a 15% change in efficiency. So quite a very proactive group within the network itself, and those results stand for themselves. The energy show is on the 6th and 7th of July. If anybody wants to come along, there will be a number of briefing sessions at it, as well as the large array of exhibitors and things like that. The Energy Awards happening again this year. Congratulate Peter on getting success at long last. It's about publicly acknowledging achievements of companies and putting that out there in the public domain. I have eight awards listed here. It's likely that the Design Award might be included, which was brought in last year because of the last year was Irish Year of Design, so we brought in a special award for that. So that's all. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much indeed, Ivan.